text, audio, and video news of the globe from Scientific Television. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe with us. Thank you.
Now listen to the headline news. UN-backed experts say Gaza food supplies improving, but 100,000 still in catastrophic conditions. Brown University and MIT professor shooting suspect found dead, police say. Australia announces gun buyback scheme in wake of Bondi attack. Putin vows no more wars if West treats Russia with respect. Bangladesh newspaper staff recall gasping for air as offices set ablaze. No fear but spectacle and serious risk looms large over Paul v. Joshua. Knife attacker kills 3 after smoke bombing Taiwan metro. Parents in India devastated as children with thalassemia test HIV positive. TikTok owner signs deal to avoid U.S. ban. Her behavior could be extreme. The woman who gave her life to save the gorillas. Now listen to the main detailed news. UN-backed experts report that nutrition and food supplies in Gaza have improved since the ceasefire, yet severe hunger persists. The Integrated Food Security Phase Classification says over 100,000 people recently faced catastrophic food insecurity, while about 500,000 remained in emergency conditions. Aid deliveries increased after October's truce. Famine classification was lifted, but the situation remains fragile and disputed by Israel, and international humanitarian agencies continue monitoring closely. The suspect in last week's mass shooting at Brown University has been found dead in a storage facility in Salem, New Hampshire, after a 6-day manhunt. Police identified him as Claudio Neves Valente, 48, a former Brown student. Authorities believe he also killed an MIT professor days later. The Brown attack left 2 students dead and 9 injured, prompting federal and state investigations.
The Australian government has announced a major gun buyback scheme following the Bondi Beach attack, the deadliest mass shooting in decades. 15 people were killed and many injured when gunmen opened fire at a Jewish festival. Authorities declared it a terrorist incident and linked it to Islamic State ideology. The scheme is Australia's largest since the 1996 Port Arthur massacre. Russian President Vladimir Putin said there would be no further wars after Ukraine if Russia is treated with respect, dismissing claims of plans to attack Europe as nonsense. Speaking during his annual televised Direct Line event, he insisted Russia is ready for peace talks, but only on its terms. He repeated demands on Ukraine, criticized NATO expansion, addressed economic pressures, and defended Russia's actions domestically and internationally. Staff at Bangladesh's leading newspapers, the Daily Star and Prothom Alo, were left trapped and gasping for air after protesters set their offices on fire in Dhaka. The violence followed the death of activist Sharif Osman Hadi, shot earlier this month. The attacks halted publication of the Daily Star for the first time in 35 years, drawing condemnation from the interim government and media community nationwide. Anthony Joshua and social media star Jake Paul are set to face each other in a professional heavyweight boxing match in Miami, an encounter many find extraordinary. Joshua, a former Olympic champion, and Paul, who rose from online fame, will fight 8 rounds under standard rules. The bout has generated global attention, controversy, and debate about boxing's integrity, commercial appeal, and shifting power dynamics within the sport today.
At least 3 people were killed and 5 others injured after a knife-wielding attacker carried out a violent rampage in Taipei during Friday's evening rush hour. The suspect used smoke bombs at the city's main metro station before stabbing people at another nearby station in a busy shopping district. The 27-year-old attacker later died after falling from a building, while authorities pledged swift investigations. Parents of children with thalassemia in India are devastated after routine blood transfusions left their children HIV positive. In Madhya Pradesh's Satna district, 5 children aged 3 to 15 tested positive during routine screening, prompting an official investigation. Similar cases were recently reported in Jharkhand. The children are now undergoing treatment, but families face lifelong medical challenges, stigma, and uncertainty surrounding healthcare safety and accountability. TikTok's Chinese owner, ByteDance, has signed binding agreements with U.S. and global investors to operate TikTok's American business, ending years of uncertainty. The deal, set to close on 22 January, creates a joint venture partly owned by firms including Oracle, Silver Lake, and MGX. ByteDance will retain a minority stake. The agreement allows TikTok to continue operating in the U.S. despite long-standing national security concerns. 40 years after her murder, primatologist Dian Fossey is remembered for transforming global understanding of mountain gorillas. Living among them in Rwanda, she proved they were gentle, social animals, not violent brutes. Her work drew worldwide attention to their decline and inspired conservation. However, Fossey's life ended violently in 1985 when she was murdered in her cabin, a crime that remains unsolved.